Welcome to Connectronics. I'm Steve, and as much as I enjoy listening to these Focal Chora 806 speakers, we've had them around a while. And I'm sure you've seen them in posts, and you've seen them in videos, and I know exactly what you're thinking. I sure wish Steve would show us something newer. I wish he would show us something better. Well, you know what? Your wish is my command, because today we just got in the all-new Vestia No1s. And we're going to unbox these bad boys and see what they're all about, so stick around. Welcome back, and I'll be honest, that 10 seconds I just had to wait there is driving me crazy because I'm like way too excited to open these things. But anyway, they are the Focal Vestia No1s, and we got these in dark wood. These here are the light wood. So let's get these cracked open. No, we don't need this. If you know anything about Focal, they staple their boxes. They don't tape them. So you never need a knife to cut these open. Just a little finagling there. Oh, instructions on how to open them. Yeah, they want us to flip the whole box upside down and everything. I guess we could do that. All right, well, let's do it that way. I'm going to follow some instructions for once. I usually don't follow instructions, so, you know, don't tell my mom that, but she knows. Anyway, we'll take out the foam here. And we have the grills. You know what? I'm going to leave it all as is and do what the box tells me to do. Flip these over. Easier said than done. Okay. Wasn't so bad. Huh. Yeah, see? I guess you don't got to lift them out that way. And, you know, these are the grills and the instructions. So, don't really need instructions, do you? You plug them in and, you know, maybe people need to be instructed. I do need tape, the knife for the tape. My bad. And here I was saying you don't need the knife when you're opening Focal. Huh. Well, the box, I guess. Okay, there we go. Oh, you get the back, I get the front. Oh my gosh, these smell delicious. Look at that. Yep. Nice dark wood. Nice looking speakers there. Let's get this other one here. And as I mentioned, these obviously are the dark wood. Vestia is the new line from Focal, which is one line above the Chora. So I've heard a lot of talk about the Chora being discontinued and it's done. From what I've seen, it's not. It's still in the lineup and it's still available. We can still order them. I haven't seen anything about them being discontinued. They're still on the website. All right, now that I got these unboxed, I figured I would continue to go through the rest of this stuff and also talk about these speakers, what the specs are, how they compare to the Choras, and what they have improved and what they've done to it. And so these are the grills. And you can see this here. And so yeah, that's a pretty good look. I like that. I know that some of the people may mentioned, I don't want to say they complained, but mentioned how the Chora just had a grill that went over the driver. So it was just a round grill, leaving the rest of it exposed. So people were probably thinking, if you want a grill over it, I don't want to see the speaker at all. So this is kind of what they went with, which to me makes sense. I think most of our customers want to cover up that speaker completely, you know, but it does have a nice look on it. It still gives you the Focal logo on the grill, which looks good. So I figured we'd go over what's the rest of the stuff in the box here. The fancy Focal cleaning cloth. They somehow get their name on there, which is pretty impressive. And little tiny rubber feet. Not sure if we would use those, but boy, those are tiny. And obviously the last grill, which is nice, right? And then we have the instructions here. And also, there's another booklet, Regards, Focal at a Glance. And so this book is kind of a little picture book talking about the history of Focal with some different innovations and things that they have. Just kind of talking about Focal. So that's pretty cool. They include another book with their speakers. So with that, let's go over what the speakers are within the lineup. So the new Vestia line is Fill in the Gap. So where does it fill the gap? It fills the gap between the Chora and the Aria. So the way the Focal lineup currently is there's the Chora, which is the 800 series, the Aria, which is a 900 series, then there's the Canta, the Sopra, and the Grand Utopia, which is their top dog, or the Utopia line. So with the 800 series, the Chora 800s, they couldn't go from an 800 series to the Aria 900 series and come up with a model number in between. The last few years, Focal changed the way they named their model numbers. So when they came up with the Sopra, they did a Sopra number 1, which was the bookshelf, a 2, which was their smaller tower, and then the Sopra number 3, which is their big tower. Then after that, they came out with the Canta line. The Canta does the same thing. There's a Canta number 1 bookshelf, a number 2, and a number 3. So going forward, I feel like they're going to continue to do that because the new Vestia line is the same way. These are the Vestia number 1s. A number 2 is a tower, number 3 bigger, and a number 4 is the biggest tower. So that's how they got this filling in the gap between the Chora and the Aria. Now, why are they doing that is because there was a big price gap that they wanted to fill. So some of the things to think about is how the Focal has been developing the speakers and improving them. Sometimes you feel like if there's big improvements from one line to another, they need to fill that in some way so they could get people into the product. And that was the case with the Choras, because to go from a Chora 806 bookshelf at $9.99 a pair to go up to the Aria 906 at $21.99 a pair was a big gap. So they came out with the Vestias. Now, the other thing to talk about is how the Chora is currently on sale. The Chora 806 is on sale at $5.99. The entire Chora line is on sale right now, and people have mentioned that it's been discontinued. I don't know if that's the case. It may be becoming discontinued, but as of making this video, it's still on the website. It's still available. We still have, we can get inventory of it. It's not gone. It's just currently on sale. Is it going to go away? Possibly. But on the other end of it, the Aria is also on sale. So the Aria is on sale till March 31st at 20% off. So even though, if you look at the numbering now of how the sale of each is, because the Aria 906 at 20% off from $2,200 is $1,760 a pair. So you go from $600 a pair, $1,200 a pair, $1,760 a pair. And now that actually makes sense with that pricing, the way they did it. So it's kind of like where the Vestia fills that gap in between the two. Now let's talk specs. So what are some of the specs on the Vestia number 1s? Well, I'll compare these to the Chora 806s, since the Vestias are the new improved upgrade to the 806. The specs on 806, frequency response goes down to 58 Hertz up to 28,000 Hertz. The Vestia number 1s will play down to 56 Hertz, so a little bit lower, but they also play a little bit higher because the tweeter goes up to 30,000 Hertz. So what makes this tweeter play higher is the new tweeter design that Focal calls a TAM, which is their M-shaped tweeter. So all their tweeters have an inverted dome, if you look at a side profile. But instead of being flat on the sides, it's tapered back. So the side profile is the shape of an M. So that was developed by Focal in their car audio line. So if you look at their car audio line, they currently have that M-shaped tweeter in a lot of their speakers. And that M-shaped tweeter has now been brought into the home speakers, and Vestia is the first one to implement that M-shaped tweeter. So that alone is pretty exciting. The other good quality of the M-shaped tweeter is not only does it play higher, but it also plays lower, because the crossover frequency between the tweeter and the woofer on the Chora is at 3,000 Hertz. Now on the Vestia, it goes from 3000 down to 2800. So the crossover frequency has been lowered in the response to where we are more sensitive. So they generally say that humans are sensitive around 4000 hertz. So the further we can get that crossover point away from our sensitive hearing of 4000, all the better. So it puts more demand on that tweeter, not only to expect it to play higher, but to play lower. So more of your sound is coming from that tweeter, and that means less demand on the woofer. So that's one way of making it more efficient. And speaking of efficiency, the efficiency on the 806 is at 89 dB, whereas on the Vestia No1 it's 89.5. So it's just a little tweak. But that tells you a lot, because not only is this speaker playing lower and playing higher, it's also more efficient in doing so. So it's getting a lot more sound output for the same amount of power. So that says a lot. The other thing to think about with these speakers is the overall size. Now, what I think is great about it is the fact that it's playing lower, but out of a smaller enclosure. You can see how it's shorter. The width is slightly bigger and the depth is slightly bigger. But overall, this speaker is so much smaller and able to put out more sound. I think is just amazing. So I think that's a really good thing that this Vestia line has going for it. So improved tweeter, improved woofer and bass response, improved efficiency. To me, drastic improvement in overall look. This is a very sharp looking speaker compared to the Chora. Chora has its own look to it, but that's fine, you know, if you like that type of look. To me, I like this much better. I like the fact the grill covers the entire speaker. I don't have the grill here for this, but the grill only is, it's round, it just covers that. A lot of people didn't like that. And so now you have a lot more finished look speaker when it's like this, and overall better quality of parts all throughout. So I think it's great. So I'm excited about the Vestia No1s and getting these set up next to the Choras. So I think that covers everything with the all-new Focal Vestia No1 speakers. We talked about all the specs of the Vestia No1 and compared those specs to the Chora 806s. We talked about how the Vestia line falls within the rest of the lines of Focal. We went through the unboxing and showed everything that is included. So that concludes this video, so thank you for sticking around to the very end. And as I mentioned at the beginning, this is something new and it's something better. So I hope all your wishes came true. Oh yeah, I almost forgot. Next video, we're going to be unboxing these stands to get these Vestia No1s sitting next to the Chora 806s. You're not going to want to miss that.